Ultiworld's live streaming coverage of the 2023 College Championships is presented by Breakmark Ultimate.
It's finally here. It's the women's division final at the 2023 Division III College Championships. We have the undefeated #1 Middlebury Pranksters taking on the #3 seed Carleton College Eclipse. Theo on here with Fiona Nugent. And Fiona, this is a battle of heavyweight programs. What are you looking forward to in this final matchup?
This is a really exciting matchup that we have here in the Division III women's division. These two teams have not met all season. We already said Middlebury's undefeated, Carleton with only 1 or 2 losses to Division I teams. They haven't seen each other. They've watched their film. They're ready. They're in this big stadium. Nerves are high, but both teams are excited to duke it out.
Both teams going undefeated so far in this tournament. And talking about undefeated seasons, we got to look at Middlebury here, also going for a 3rd straight title.
Yep, we spoke with senior captain Maddie Lander before this tournament, or before the game. She said that there are multiple players here, that this is their 3rd straight national championship game that they're playing today. So we're excited to see them in action.
And as we look at how the teams got here, going to take a look at the bracket on your screen. And the score lines, there were some quarterfinals that took place with the main top seeds taking advantage of the bye and cruising on. And then in the semifinals, we had Eclipse defeating the Whiptails 15-12. And then Middlebury taking down Portland 15-10. And so these two teams going to go at it. And one thing we, of course, have to note is it's a stadium feel. It's the finals. They're pumped up. But perhaps for some of these players, their first time playing in this setting, the crowd, the big lights, as they say.
Bright lights, hot turf. It's a really exciting game to be out here for the opening poll for both Carleton and Middlebury. We've got most of the tournament out here in the stands, ready to watch the teams that they've already been defeated by to get on their way here to this game. We've got Carleton Huddle getting locked in and ready in their darks, their cool Jurassic Park themed dark jerseys. Middlebury Pranksters are doing what they do best, dancing and singing to keep the vibes up. This is a really exciting matchup, and we are hotly anticipating this first poll, Theo.
Both teams ready to go here. And before we get started, your observers for this game, Sandra Hansen, Jake Rathjens, Linda Kudo, and Zita Strickland Kudo, your head observer for this matchup. Getting a good look at the Pranksters. And they're going to run what we call a tighter line here. So that's going to be a contrast of styles as well. One team crossing over a lot of players, offense, defense, whereas on the Carleton side, they're going to run true O&D lines, at least to start.
Absolutely. Theo and I have had the luxury of getting to watch both of these teams play a lot this weekend. We saw Middlebury defeat Portland in the semifinals last night. Middlebury running really tight lines, mostly focusing on their top 8 or 9 players. We've got Claire Babbitt-Bryan down there with the disc. She's the defending player of the year 2 years straight. We've got Keziah Wilday. She's been a major component of the Middlebury offense. Looks like she's not down there on the field right now, but Cameron Umack, Lily Lash, Maddie Lander, all these are big names for the Middlebury Pranksters.
And for Carleton, they're going to have some big names in their own right. Maya Kalmus already up there in the leaderboard with assists, 23 total. And on the turn, you'll see Alex Rowell making plays, the senior handler. Throws a lot of assists and often looks for Rowan Dong in the deep space, so keep an eye out for that. I do see Rowell on the field to start for this offensive point for Carleton.
Looks like Carleton's switching up what they have on their offensive line. Carleton has a really deep roster. They've had some set O&D lines both in their quarterfinals and semifinals that we've gotten to watch and commentate and analyze their game. Now we're really excited to see how they face and match up with the Middlebury Pranksters, much more chaotic, loosey-goosey play style.
See some of the members of the men's team and alumni out here as well. Babbitt Bryan with the pole, and we're off in the women's division final. Brooks Kahn to center things over to Rowell. And let's get things going. Kalmus on the open side, going deep. Great effort, and it's reeled in by Dana Freed, and Carleton Eclipse gets on the board.
This is great offense that we've seen from Carleton all weekend. Those clean, smooth holds, looking deep to their receivers, both Dana Freed and Frankie Serenetti catching the game-winning goal against Mount Holyoke for a layout. That's Maya Kalmus with the assist, adding another one to her already impressive score sheet for this for this entire weekend. Carleton won on the board.
That's how you want to start off if your coach is Cameron Barton and Emma Nicosia. You dial up a pole play, you get the offense flowing, and then you get on the board. So got to be feeling good there. And a lot of the same players back out on the field. Serenity, Freed, Brooks Kahn, Rowell, and Maya Kalmus set to pull. And of course, one of their big defenders, Tess Barton, out on the field, was shaken up on a play in the semifinal yesterday, but good to see her back out there. And Claire Babbitt Bryan, of course, you mentioned 2-time defending player of the year, trying to go for that three-peat for player of the year and the title. So that's what Claire BB is hoping to do this weekend.
Middlebury signaling they're ready. They are excited and pumped up for this offensive point. Looks like Kalmus with the pull, and it's off.
Disc center to Valentine, horizontal stack from the Pranksters as the disc gets swung to Rifkin. Babbitt Bryan, the lefty, looking for a dump now. And going up line to Rifkin and throw a little too far. And Carleton Eclipse gets a break opportunity.
This is their first break chance of the game, their first D point. Let's see how Carleton can tackle their defensive offense set.
Vertical stack here from Carleton. They often go with a no dump look. Rowell is a handler and was at the front of the stack, launching deep. Barton is there, multiple Middlebury players, and it's snacked away by Babbitt Bryan.
This is that really important heads-up defense that you have to be playing at this level of Ultimate. Rifkin with a big shot to the end zone.
Multiple players there, and Caroline Cooper trying to make the grab, gonna call a foul here, and play will stop temporarily.
Players are gonna have a discussion on the field. We can always bring in the reserve observers. We've got them mic'd up for the discussion.
Looks like there was some signal of perhaps rescinding the foul as Cooper and Kalmus discussing things, and the observer closest there in Strickland, helping things move forward. And you can retract a call. I often tell people that you see a call and sometimes people get hotly contested about it, but you can have a discussion and then retract it later. That's what makes the rules of Ultimate pretty special.
And that's why we don't have referees in Ultimate. We've got observers to have that discussion.
Brooks Kahn to this near sideline. Finds Freed, another lefty on the field. Stack a little deep for this Carleton side as they look for a reset. Kalmus continuing it to that far side of the field to Barton. Barton drawing the Claire Babbitt Bryan matchup right now. Power position for Kalmus. Serenity, nice saving grab for possession here. Almost has Rowell going to the open side, but holstering it for now. About 10 yards away, Kalmus going up line. Carleton gets the first break of the game, making sure Cooper's okay as well, but Carleton's fired up.
That's Brooks Kahn with the assist, Kalmus with the goal, switching up that stat line as we've been discussing. One thing of note, Thea, that I'd like to point out, Rowan Dong, who scored 5 back-to-back breaks in Carleton's quarterfinal against Mount Holyoke, was not out here on this D-line. Carleton, once again, maybe they're tightening up their lines, maybe they're really trying to run their top 9 here, but Dong, an absolute deep threat, especially with Rowell behind the disc. So A lot of depth from this Carleton roster, and they're fired up. They've got that first break. They're up 2-0.
So this is something that Middlebury is going to have to rise to the challenge for. You don't ever want to go 3-0. That's always been a pivotal point in Ultimate, right? You either, with this point in particular, it's either going to be 3-0 or 2-1. That's a very different score line for both sides. So this point, pretty important in the early going. And on their run, the most goals that they were scored against was Portland in the semis 15-10, but 15-4, 15-4, and 15-8 in pool play. Middlebury pretty dominant on Friday.
Middlebury, very dominant Friday. Again, we said
Saturday, excuse me, Saturday.
Saturday, you're right. Middlebury.
Get my days mixed up over here.
It's Monday today. It's bright and early. It's a work day. Middlebury, very dominant on Saturday. You know, they had a bigger point differential in their semifinal against Portland than Carleton against Wellesley. Wellesley scoring 12 goals, but we've got a big look to Babbitt Bryan.
Throw settling into the turf, looking for their star player, and it doesn't work out for them. So it's another turnover, 2 offensive points, and there's been turnovers both times.
These are the turnovers that Carleton D-line is looking to force. You know, Carleton's D-line offense has been really, really dominant this whole season, and they're really looking to punish any of those mistakes.
Speaking of mistakes, they give the disc back, a short field, and that's not what you want to see if you're the Carleton College coaches, because you know that three-point swing can be very large, especially early on. Valentine swinging around, finds Wilday. Mentioned Wilday's prowess, a little back shoulder throw to Babbitt Bryan, and they needed that one. Defender face guarding there in Gursky, and just throwing them open for the score.
Middlebury on the board. Love to see these creative celebrations. We've been seeing all sorts of great scores, Sellies, all weekend. Discussed it on our podcast last night, our little 7500 Club special episode, and this is the type of energy that we're always seeing from the Pranksters. They have that fun, energetic, upbeat aspect to their ultimate that I really think helps them succeed and not take even these most high-stress games too seriously to the point where they get nervous and can falter.
Little great celebration. That's clearly planned out, and we love that. And Wilday and Babbitt Bryan connecting for the score. 2-time All-American first-teamers, both of them. So you have those two on the team. You're going to be feeling pretty good here, and Babbitt Bryan's going to be back out on the field. Wilday as well. So you know they're not going to take many points off.
They are not. We did not see many breaks for either of these players in their semi against Portland. We also have Cameron Umack out here on the D-line, as well as rookie Lucy Van Newkirk. These are two really strong defenders for the Middlebury Pranksters, and they're hoping to force another one of those mistakes for this Carleton O-line in hopes of getting the score back on serve.
They didn't get smooth holds, but Middlebury able to score finally and able to get things going now, hoping their defense can make something happen. Carleton scored a clean hold to get this matchup going. Close sideline here for Marquis. Up the line, and Umack almost had a play on it. Going across the field. Toes in for the score. Serenity celebrating and pumped up. They get the hold.
What a find for Maya Kalmus. One thing that I've noted about her playing this entire weekend is just how calm, cool, and collected she is this entire weekend. And to be a center handler like that, especially for such a top team, it's really hard to pull the disc right out of the fingertips of the bidding Cameron Umack and then find that cross-field backhand to Serenity. Serenity's been a major receiver for the Carleton O-line, getting layout grabs to clinch that score in the quarterfinal against Mount Holyoke. Really, really solid player, and Carleton is fired up. They're up 3-1.
See what adjustments Middlebury makes, and one thing we'd be remiss not to talk about is for Middlebury, they have a Swan as their coach and not a physical human coach on the sidelines for them, and that, of course, hasn't affected them this season. Perhaps with game adjustments, that could change some things later on.
Absolutely. We wrote a article, ranking the different strengths and weaknesses leading up to this final matchup, and we've seen the Carleton coaching staff out there on the line giving their players feedback, ways to adjust to accommodate for Middlebury's strengths and capitalize on their weaknesses. A little roller pull here, and Middlebury has to rely on each other to identify those defensive set opportunities.
And that's a big collaborative nature of their team culture. And I think it does change the dynamic of a college team. They're going to all have to work together and take on different roles. Crawford finds Babbitt Bryan. Swinging it back to the middle of the field. Valentine and Wilday did some backfield stalwarts so far, and that works out. Middlebury's starting to find things offensively as they get the hold.
Finding senior captain Neve Carty there in the end zone. Another one of those over the stack looks. This has been a favorite for both teams to throw those goals. And Middlebury with a nice clean hold, getting it together, shredding that Carleton saggy zone look, really working it around and finding the areas that Carleton defenders were not. All right, now that we've got Carleton walking back out to the line for another O point. Here we'll take a look at Middlebury's D-line. We've got Wilday out here again, Babbitt Bryan taking a break. Maddie Lander, first runner-up for Defensive Player of the Year in 2022. Hoping to see some impressive defense out of her this point to try to get the score back on serve. Close game out here in Obetz, and Carleton not letting the nerves get to them, out here dancing on the sidelines, singing, matching Middlebury's energy to really keep this game fun. We were talking to Maddie Lander, she's another captain on the Middlebury squad, and she was just saying to us that so many of these players, or a number of these players, it's their third time playing. They lost 9 seniors, but they've got 11 this year. Third time competing for a chip, third time playing in the stadium. For them, it's just another game and another hopefully undefeated game to add to their record.
Carleton out here, vertical stack once again. Kyla Christie keeping things moving and keeping things alive with Serenity. Caught the goal earlier for the last hold. Helm is just so dangerous in those upline spaces and going around, big backhand. Looking for James. One of the captains, Claire James, resetting it over to Brooks Kahn. Helm's just buzzing around, asking for the disc here. Brooks Kahn gonna go cross field instead. Hangs up, but Freed comes down with it for the score and the hold.
Serenetti and Freed both so good in the air, especially in that end zone under double coverage of Maddie Lander. And I didn't quite see who the other defender was for Middlebury that peeled off to cover that. What could be a easily contested throw should Freed not be so good in the air and able to get up and hit that high point where it can't even be defended. Circling up here, we've got Carleton prepping for another D point, looking to get another break and keep running this break train. I guess it hasn't been a break train yet.
They got one break though.
Yeah, keep running their solid defense that we've seen all weekend. Coaches out there giving some input. Theo, what do you think so far?
Well, for me, I've noticed Carleton 3 holds, all clean. So Middlebury's defense hasn't been able to ratchet up some of those turnover opportunities. We've seen some opportunities when Middlebury started out on offense, but in terms of their D-line, they, as we said, don't really have a traditional O&D line. So the players that end up being on defense got to step up and make some plays as we get a look at Keziah Wilday. Wilday has 2 assists so far for this Middlebury squad, and smart veteran move here. They waited for the time to run out and then call the timeout, giving extra rest for their players. Middlebury still on the line here, but it is a timeout. Carleton has the lead on Middlebury, 4-2. back in action for the women's division final. We thank you for tuning in to Ultiworld's coverage. This has been such an exciting weekend. D3 expanding to 3 days, and I know the players and supporters very appreciative of that, and seeing the great action here at the stadium. See some of the Middlebury men's players and alumni supporting their fellow Pranksters squad. High stall potentially, and this throw is going to be high. Babbitt Bryan, great effort to save it. Had come in, saw that this was going over her head, tried to go back for it, but it's an Eclipse break opportunity here.
This type of high stall punt is really the goal of the Carleton Eclipse. You know, they're trying to get a turn relatively early into the point, so that way then they can work it up the field. Unafraid to chuck it deep here. We're looking to see, 2 players going deep, guarded by Babbitt Bryan.
Sarah Needy comes down with the goal, but Babbitt Bryan was there. There's going to be some discussion to be had, and something I'll say is spirits have been very high from both squads and teams throughout this tournament. Linda Kudo, the observer, the head one for this game, going to be right there in the thick of the discussion.
Looks like we're still having a conversation. Can't quite tune into what the observers are saying, but going to another observer potentially for a better perspective. Hopefully we can resolve this quickly. Theo,
despite them not resolving it as quickly as maybe we would like, we got some singing in the stands, so they're trying to have some things happen there as we get a second look or even a third look. Looked like Babbitt Bryan, I think, got the disc first. And the disc is going to go into Middlebury's hand. So their offensive line gets another or a second opportunity on this point. CBB making the save there and going around, finding Valentine. Wilde towing the line, but was very in there. Flicking out into for Babbitt Bryan, but this throw out of bounds, and we'll be interested to see where this actually comes in.
This is why we have the observers. They're able to mark where the throw went out. That's a tough upline huck there for Wilde. You know, we really don't have any wind here today at the stadium, so that's not as much of a factor as it has been previously.
Swinging around to the open side. Serenity has caught a goal in this game, and flicking up to Rowell, who's been quiet, but Rowell gonna get on the goal sheet, and it's another Carleton break.
Carleton break train starting to get into the station. You know, we haven't seen some of these major players that we hyped up in both of our preview pieces, and, you know, when me and Theo were just talking before that first pull went off, getting into the action, and now Rowell with that awesome overhead grab.
We do have a timeout on
We've got
Middlebury.
Middlebury taking a timeout here to try to recollect themselves. They have to get a hold here before they can get another break and try to get the game, you know, back into their court.
There's been a lot of Carleton momentum right now, and you often hear in Ultimate breaks come in pairs, and we've seen them have a couple breaks this game after some holds. They've yet to put 2 breaks together. They're hoping to do that after this timeout. Carleton in the driver's seat currently, up 5-2.
What are they, spaceships from Mars? No, they're frisbees. Watch it soar. It flies way around like a bird. You can even run for a pass. You can play all kinds of games. Isn't it amazing? Frisbee Flying Saucer. Yours at toy, drug, and department stores.
Back for some first half action. Middlebury down 5-2. I don't think a lot of people would have seen this coming. They're the two-time defending champions, undefeated all season, but they have yet to face this Eclipse side, and Eclipse giving them all they can handle right now.
You know, the Eclipse coaches, they said to me in 2021 that they were in Norco for a national championship, and here we are 2 years later, slightly different roster, just as deep, just as proud of the fact that they trust every single player on every line. You know, while they're playing their top players, they're cycling through a lot here. You know, Middlebury seems like they just have some less legs. They've got not as much external guidance that they have with the coaches. Two very differently led end teams alongside very differently. What's the right word here? Glue, holding them together.
The O-line trying to glue together an offensive point because those have been few and far between right now. So Babbitt Bryan going to center the disc. Will they the reset? I see UMAC out there, Van Newkirk as well. So really trying to hammer in this offensive point. Zone set called out of the timeout. Love that move. Trying to just gummy up the downfield action. Babbitt Bryan going every other with Wilday right now. So they get the disc to the far side. Just past half field and slicing through low grab, caught by Lander. Lander finds Newkirk. And Middlebury gets the hold they desperately needed.
Nice clean hold for Middlebury, trying to string together some good energy to get those breaks back from Carleton. Carleton not letting this hold get them down at all. They really made Middlebury have to work for every single one of those passes. We saw a little earlier the stands here, Middlebury's men's team on the sideline before they go warm up for their final game, as well as most of the other women's teams that have been here. So great to see this supportive energy for both teams from the entire tournament.
What I want to see is some jersey trading, like pop-ups. I've often seen that at national tournaments. Players spreading out their jerseys along the bleachers, trying to get some trades. So let's get that going, a little market out there.
It's always so hard to want to trade, though, because you love your jersey so much and you don't want to give it up. Obviously, I would trade for this Eclipse jersey anytime.
You're loving the Jurassic Park design.
Oh, I love it. It's so cool, but why would they want to give it up? You know, they're personalized. They have their names on them, and that's so special.
And their nicknames, too, specifically, which is super fun.
I know a thing or two about a nickname. I've got my nickname on my jersey. So, you know, as cool as it would be to have one of those rowboat jerseys, I don't think Dong would want to let it go.
Carleton College will flip back and forth. It's a hand block. And that's the momentum they needed. Cameron Umack, second team All-American in 2021, stepping up with a hand block and a short field to work with for Wilday in this Middlebury squad. Just out of reach. UMAC and Newkirk were there, but neither get the disc.
A hand block like that really shows that Middlebury did their homework. They watched that Carleton semi. You know, Wellesley put up, it looks like, the best fight against the Carleton Eclipse squad that we've seen all weekend. And so UMAC was able to study what the tendencies of the Carleton Eclipse O-line is.
James ruled out of bounds there. Good spear to drop the disc right away. No real argument there. Wilday had a cutter coming underneath and said going to go to that said cutter on the reset in UMAC. Cardi, you mentioned the senior captain giving over to Babbitt Bryan. Very patient here from this Middlebury side. Hardy inside shot. Will it land in bounds? And it's ruled in. Wilday gets the goal, and Middlebury finally gets a break.
Keeping this game so close right now. We'd be on the edges of our seats if we were sitting down, but I don't think Theo and I are going to be able to sit down this entire game because we have to keep our energy up to match these players. It is electric to hear the way that the bleachers are rumbling the whole way up as these Middlebury players score their first break. Cardi to Wilday.
Wilday been dishing a lot of goals, but now on the receiving end, so 2 assists and a goal for number 35. Played for Squall, a women's team in 2022, and then also played for a mixed team you may have heard of, folks, in Wildcard in 2021.
This Middlebury team excited to keep their energy up. They've got their first break. They need a second and a third to really get on top of this Eclipse squad, but Eclipse coming out with a really strong O-line once again. This is their first not clean hold, I think, and it was a break.
Brian pulling from the center of the field. We're all rushing up to take it and then flips it over as their offense gets set up, but it's a Middlebury zone. Changing things up. Inside shot knocked away. Lily Lash. Seattle Washington product coming through. This is where some of that momentum from Middlebury can continue to carry itself on here. Tule gets blocked by Dong, and no foul. Thought there might have been a call. Saw players stop there, but it's going to keep going and remain with Carleton.
Great opportunity for the Pranksters right there in the red zone. Now Eclipse has to work it through through this zone cup. We're gonna have a little conversation here. Looks like just an accidental collision.
Tule gonna get a card here for the contact.
Looks like the foul is uncontested.
And disc will remain with Tess Barton. I mentioned earlier on that Barton was also shaken up on a play against Wellesley, so making sure Barton taking the lumps here for the squad, and of course want to bring home a national title to Northfield, Minnesota. High throw, coming down with it is Freed. Lander in coverage is checking in on Freed. Don't think there was a foul or anything called there. This zone making throws a little bit more difficult here for Carleton than we've seen with some of their smooth flowing offense, and that results in a block for Lily Lash.
Lily Lash so quick to react to those Carleton attempts to shred the cup. That's why she's right there in the wing, you know. It's like such an important position to be in for a defender.
The aforementioned Lash flipping it back to Babbitt Bryan as this D-line offense going to work here. Wilday. Good effort from Lander trying to track that one down. Natalie Dodson also in the area, but they're pinning Carleton in that end zone and hoping to stuff them right now with that zone that's been effective so far in these last 2 possessions.
It sure has been effective, you know, finding those holes. Oh, and a missed throw for Carleton.
Barton trying with the left hand. Maybe need a little extra stick 'em next time as Middlebury about 10 yards away. Babbitt Bryan going cross field. 2-hand snag for the score, and we're all tied up. Bookends for Lily Lash as well.
What a point for Lily Lash. 2 blocks and a goal in this point alone. This was her point to show off, Theo, and what a job she did. Finding that break side cut to have that overhead grab, acknowledging those 2 opportunities to get a D. What great playing from number 9 over here at Middlebury.
The great play going to result in a timeout as it's all even. Carleton College did start on offense, so that means Middlebury, you're going to get the disc in the second half. See Cameron Barton, Emma Nicosia, discussing things with the squad, and I'm going to pretend you're a fly on the wall here. What do you think they're saying in that huddle to their squad?
They're definitely dissecting the ways that that Middlebury Cup stopped that handler motion. You know, there were 2 blocks that Lily Lash made that were the exact same throw, both to Rowan Dong, and, you know, one could have seen that Lash was there to come in and take out that look. So I would assume that the Carleton coaches are over here dissecting how those throws went wrong and ways that the handlers can now break that cup and get the disc, you know, past a half field.
Look like 4 people hovering around the disc as well, making things very difficult. And when they do swing it to the side, that cutter, Dong being that person, needs to run to the disc a little bit further, because if it's floating out, that wing, especially Lash, the speedster, just going to break in for the block.
Looks like a lot of these throws have been going up. They've been pretty floaty. They've been pretty easy to contest. So I understand why the Carleton cutters are reticent to attack the disc as much, because they've been popping up, but they really need to do that in order to avoid having Lily Lash come in and make those blocks.
Both with Dong as the intended receiver. We talked about Raul looks for Dong, that connection, and it hasn't worked out, at least on that point. And so Raul back out on the field for this Eclipse side. Serenides out there as well. Tess Barton, Kalmus has been all over the assist sheet, and Brooks Kahn, one of their star players, out on the field.
Wilde with the flick pull that we've seen. What a great pull Wilde it has. And you never see a flick be so successful, but kudos to her.
In and out of the hands of number 5, Rowan Dong, and Middlebury. That momentum, I know we're up here separated from the stands, but I think you can feel it shifting.
Absolutely. We could feel it when Carleton got those 2 breaks. Now Middlebury's gotten 2 breaks themselves.
High stall, will they have to put it out for Lander? Good effort, drawing some O's from the crowd. Had the hands on it, but doesn't land in to the basket of number 23, Maddie Lander.
Dana Freed and Rowan Dong there dropping to give Lander extra difficulty in that catch. That double coverage is so hard.
Running through to atone for that is Maddie Lander, and that gives Middlebury a 3rd straight break opportunity here. They just rattled off 2, forcing a timeout and trying to take the lead. This disc won't stay in bounds though. They were trying to work it around the horn, and it doesn't work out as they were looking for Natalie Dodson.
It looks like Middlebury needs to rein in that energy. They're so excited. They want this 3rd break. They want to get this opportunity to pull ahead, a win away from the Carleton Eclipse team. But they have to just rein in these throws. And what a grab from Wilde.
Wilde picks it off, flips it to Van Newkirk, and we talked about the break train rolling for Carleton. It's actually the Middlebury team that's feeling good right now, the Pranksters, rattling off 4 points in a row.
What an exciting celebration. What a great grab and assist for Wilde. Pranksters break train, they've gassed it up. They're ready to go. Carleton having to walk back to their line and really get ready to try to get this game back into their pocket. They came out so strong, and now Middlebury's starting to get the fire underneath them to run away with it.
This Middlebury side, what a season they've had. I mean, undefeated that we've talked about. Score differentials too being more impressive as part of that. So at regionals in New England, 51-20 was their score differential, and at the Neil Nahostack in Charlotte, North Carolina, 61-20 in score diff. You don't see those kind of score diffs out here. That's all I'm going to say.
You really don't, and that's something to attribute strongly to that Middlebury D-line. You know, they're able to get those heads-up Ds that we saw, 2 points back-to-back, and then convert. You know, if you don't allow an O-line to score, you're going to start to run away with that point diff. And that's what Middlebury's shown all season, is that ability.
Initiation cut over to Marquis. Marquis has to rip this one up high, and he'll be eaten up by Van Newkirk. Van Newkirk was the one who was on the receiving end of the goal. Babbitt Bryan in power position. Had UMac going deep, but UMac decided to come back into the underspace. Guess who but Will Day on the upline cut. Had some momentum, but decides to go with the veteran move, calling the timeout. So all teams have exhausted their timeouts in the first half. It's been fast and furious action. This timeout allows us to catch our breath as well.
Seeing Carleton throw a backhand force here, something new to get that disc back into their hands of their offense.
Right now, Middlebury has the momentum. They're hoping to cash in on another break. They have this one up 6-5.
What are they, spaceships from Mars? No, they're frisbees. Watch it soar. It flies way around like a bird. You can even run for a pass. You can play all kinds of games. Isn't it amazing? Frisbee Flying Saucer. Yours at toy, drug, and department stores.
Disc back in the hands of Middlebury. They're going to go cross field. Kalmus in the deep space. They came out in a zone, and it results in a block. Good strategy from Eclipse there.
That is always such a tough location to decide to have a timeout. You know, you can say it works either way. Will Day, such great heads-up defense.
It's a little meta move there, perhaps, as Trojan horse, another way to say it. Babbitt Bryan finds her teammate for the score. That's Lucy Van Newkirk, a second straight goal, and Middlebury 1 point away from half.
Middlebury has stepped on the gas and has not let up. We talked so much about Carleton's offensive prowess, but Middlebury's gotten 5 breaks back to back to catch up, to tie, and to start to really press down on that Carleton Eclipse O-line. Eclipse, I'm not sure how much of a challenge they've had yet, and they're really getting stuck by the Middlebury defense, having a hard time getting it off the sideline.
In pool play, their tightest score is 15-7 to Colorado College Zenith. That was actually on the live stream. The first game we ever did this weekend. It was out in the rain, different conditions out here. But their quarters, you had a chance to be on the call for that. Mount Holyoke 15-11 and then 15-12, which I had a chance to call yesterday. And so the scores continue to increase for them, and that, of course, is the resistance of the teams they're playing as they go deeper into the bracket. This is a little bit of a dangerous territory for Carleton because they start on offense. So if they go down half 8-5, they're going to give Middlebury also the disc starting in the second half. So big offensive point here for Eclipse. They've used their 2 timeouts. Got to go with the personnel they have out on the field.
They really have to make some smart plays here. Big hug from Raul.
Babbitt Bryan hovering all over the deep space, gets the block. They've been buzzing all over the field for this Middlebury side. Been a handler, also been a cutter. Lander coming underneath. It's not looked. Instead, it's Babbitt Bryan under the pressure of Dong. Powers up a backhand, looking for Captain Maddie Lander. And good defense prevents that from continuing to be with the Middlebury side. It's Sasha Monks with the block, the freshman.
You know, I think that Middlebury also did, well, we know Middlebury did their homework last with a great grab but we've got Babbitt Bryan here on Dong, and now the opposite is true because I think that Middlebury realized that Dong certainly was the deep threat, and Babbitt Bryan's a great deep defender.
You're going to have the homework done when you got all the streaming coverage that we have here from Ultiworld. 19 games total, and that's unprecedented coverage and allows teams to get the extra scouting edge. We're seeing it throughout this tournament, teams getting ready for their opponents. Effort from Barton, but it's going to go to Middlebury right now.
A tough cross-field grab for Carleton Eclipse.
Popped up throw, saved possession. Inside shot, Maddie Lander's open and will reel it in into the bread basket. Van Newkirk, or excuse me, UMac throwing the assist. And you blink, Middlebury takes half. Just a run here of breaks.
That's half for the Middlebury Pranksters. Wow, 6 breaks in a row for this team. They had such good heads-up defense that helped them get to those power positions before the Carleton Eclipse defense could even get to position. Look at Claire Babbitt Bryan scoring goals, getting Ds, collecting that deep space. There's a reason why she's our 2-time defending player of the year, Theo.
Putting out this backhand big rip out over there for Lily Lash, part of that bookends score that she had there. And Babbitt Bryan showing her dominance. I think that she had a little bit of a quieter performance in the semis compared to what we noticed, and we're really seeing her take advantage of the matchups and really put her stamp on this one. Middlebury takes half, 8-5.
What would it look like if a competitive sport didn't mean a choice? Between beauty and brutality, style and steel. Between calling yourself out and clawing to stay in. What if there was a game that found balance? Between spirit and sport, agony and elation, like a disc dancing on air.
We now have evolved into a team sport of a game called Ultimate.
It stands by itself in that it is like no other game.
Between perfect passes and devastating drops, like the balance we so desperately needed, we had no choice but to create it ourselves. Long live grit and grace. Long live Ultimate.
The last 50 years have seen a lot of positive change
around a whole range of important issues.
And some things remain reassuringly unchanged.
Like the spirit of our game.
Ultimate is 50 years young
and still a perfect circle
of fair play,
athletic pursuit,
and camaraderie.
In fact, Ultimate was a social network
before social networks even existed.
Respetamos nuestras diferencias
and understand the value that they add.
The revolution of the disc in flight continues to prove
that there's nothing we can't achieve
when we
pull together.
Long live Ultimate.
Larga vida Ultimate.
Long live Ultimate.
There is a place where we are us at our best.
A place where everyone is welcome.
Regardless of age, shape, skin color, or anything else that tries to box people in.
A place where we defy the odds, defy the naysayers,
and even defy gravity.
A place where it's accepted that success
doesn't belong to the faint-hearted. It belongs to the brave, to the determined.
A place that knows grit, knows grace, knows bright lights, and knows empty bleachers.
A place where we remember to laugh,
where we learn to trust,
learn to high-five strangers,
and eventually even learn to fly.
a place where character, community, and competition
are all as balanced as a disc in flight.
That place isn't in a stadium or on a field.
That place is in the spirit of our players.
Because we don't just play Ultimate, we live Ultimate.
Hey all, this is Sam Echeverria with Ultiworld, here with one of Carleton's coaches as Carleton trails 8-5 in the women's division final here at D3 Nationals. You guys were up at 1 point, 5-2. What was the team vibe? How are you all feeling out here?
We're having fun still. The team's dancing. I think we feel like we're really still in this, and we're excited for a second half.
Absolutely. High energy as we see your team cheering back there. It looks like Middlebury changed over to a zone. What kind of looks or throws are you going to try to break that up and find some more success in the second half?
Yeah, I think we're just going to keep working it to each other. We know that we can throw all day. We're used to playing zones in really windy conditions, so I think we got to just settle in, and we know that we can do it.
Awesome. Well, I hope you have a great second half. Good luck here and enjoy the rest of the final.
Should I go now? Bye.
Great interview there, and trying to get some insight, of course. That's what we want to see here. Emma Nicosia, one of the coaches of this Carleton side. And looking at the game stats, we of course see that Middlebury has 5 breaks and a lot more break chances. It didn't look like that early on. It was Carleton with the momentum, but things really flipped after that timeout, down 5-2. Middlebury rocking off a lot of points. 6 in total to then take half 8-5. So a lot going on in this matchup and more action to come as Middlebury at half 8-5. The sights and sounds, you see it right there. Fortress Obet's, the great complex that we've had the pleasure of being at for the 2023 Division III College Championships. The women's division final currently taking place, and we got the men's division final as well at 1 p.m. Eastern. So stay tuned for that. And we get a look at the Carleton College sideline. We heard from their coach as well in the silent interview with Sam Echeverria. Carleton, they're searching for answers a little bit here after getting points scored on multiple times to end the first half.
That was not an easy second half to their first half for Carleton. They really came up hot, and now these Middlebury Pranksters out here doing the Macarena the time with the music that we're playing in the stadium. Middlebury's coming out here on offense against Carleton. Carleton's got to get a break and start to get their heads back in the game here.
Have it, Brian, moving around there. First on your left, Wilday, Rifkin, Crawford out there. So this offensive line, they look pretty calm right now. We see Neve Carty on the far side there. Or the close side, excuse me, number 14 on your screen. And a fellow number 14 in Calum is set to pull here for this Eclipse side. They want to get things going right away with a break.
Eclipse starting the second half on
Try to stem some of the Middlebury momentum. We'll see if halftime did just that. Open player downfield, easily reeled in by DePaulo. And a zone set once again for this Carleton College side. Calum is down. Got a block earlier in the deep space. They don't decide to test her just yet as they're moving into the red zone. Rowell rejects it with the right hand. This is the
with the
chance they
game.
needed.
They
Just over to
needed this.
Maya
Carleton
Thomas picks up.
definitely in the Middlebury red zone, needing to play some smart offense to get that disc moving downfield. Middlebury's defense definitely a challenge for Carleton Eclipse, as we have Harper Brooks Kahn here with the disc.
Great grab there to keep things alive. Now it's Kalmas. You got to watch out in the deep space when she has the disc. Looking for Brooks Kahn to win, playing some tricks there, pushing that one down into the turf.
We've got Sarah Rifkin picking up here as Carleton sets their zone
Rifkin
back
picks up
up,
for Pranksters.
trying to seal the disc there on the sideline.
Rifkin getting it out and then gets it back on the give and go, moving herself near the brick mark, but that throw for Wilday also a little too far, so we're up here in the booth, so we don't necessarily feel the wind that the players do, and I'm sure the turf out there pretty hot as well. Nice grab from Rowell to keep things alive. Now going deep in the end zone for their favorite target, Dong.
Oh, can't quite toe the line there. Little bit of an overthrow. Again, Theo said we're in the booth. We don't have much of an idea of the actual physical conditions the players are experiencing down there on the turf. We know that especially in the summer, you know, it's nearing the end of May. Turf's got to be hot. These players have to be tired. They're nervous. They're here in the stadium. We've got Middlebury with the disc.
Still in that zone set look with Freed hovering down in between the two cup members. Visionary throw gets things out for a little break here for Cardi. And then finds Babbitt Bryan near the opposing brick mark. Nice little inside shot, and they're moving with some pace. Great throw into the hands of Liz Crawford.
What a find for the Middlebury Pranksters.
Great Valentine to the end zone
Wilday
for
with
Liz
those
Crawford, and the
visionary
Pranksters
throws over the cup all the way to
Middlebury
Cardi.
9, Carleton
So
5.
much yardage gain, so much space opened up for those Middlebury offenders. Carleton barely had a chance to even react until Middlebury was starting to cook with gas all the way down the sideline.
Crawford, second year on the team, and rocking the sweet Sunny G's as well. Scoring in style for this Middlebury side.
This hold was important for the Pranksters, really starting to pull away with their lead. I love the Middlebury swagger that they have out here on the field today.
Carleton trying to get a bit of swagger of their own right now because they don't want to get doubled up. I know there's lots of time left. We see it on the clock into soft cap, but lots of opportunities left on the table for this Eclipse side. They're hoping to dial some of that back in, and it starts currently right here with this offensive point. Lander set to pull.
Hey Theo, I always say, you know, there's a lot of ball left in this game. We're just coming right out of half. Scores 9-5. We saw Carleton punch in some breaks. They could still get it together. They're bringing the disc in pretty far upfield for themselves. Looks like Middlebury's coming out here in a zone.
Some discussion as might have been offside call, but Carleton going to elect to keep playing here. With the new rules, you can choose to have it re-pulled if you'd like. Brooks Kahn over to Christie. Christie has been in the backfield. Might not necessarily get on the score sheet, but a big time person in the backfield for them. Kalmas every other. Definitely on the stat sheet looking for Sarah Needy, and Lander is there, but that throw didn't really have a chance as it started to go inside out into the sideline there.
This is a really important hold for Carleton Eclipse. They're down 5 points to Middlebury's 9. Eclipse really has to keep the disc right here on this end zone line to stay in the game.
Don't want to get doubled up here as Wilday going up line against Serenity. Collects it, calm under pressure, and putting the flick out. Kalmas was there, but it was tracked better there by Valentine. Tough catch. Some near blocks from Carleton, but it's moving right now for this D-line offense. Wilday tipped, but caught by Lander. And sometimes the luck goes that way, and for Middlebury, they're feeling good. They've just doubled up Carleton. They're up 10-5.
What a great 7-cut by Lander there in the end zone. From our vantage point, it really looks like those end zones are so deep, and Middlebury's been doing such a good job of spreading out their offense to make all those cuts so viable for the receivers. And Lander really such a great 7-cut. Wilde gets the dish from Cardi here as we get a look back, and she puts it right into the pocket for Lander to get that layout grab to recover from that Eclipse tip.
Carleton 5.
Christie tipped that one and get a great shot of Natalie Dodson, Portland, Oregon product, and some smiles on the faces, and why not? You're up 10-5 right now, and Carleton, they walk back to the line. A little bit different body language. See the great nicknames, of course. I believe I see Scooby out there for number 9. Liza Swanson. Robo was a good nickname I've seen as well. I think Mima was out there. That's another one.
I like the nicknames a lot. Looks like, yeah, Liza Swanson, Scooby, we got Bean, Bolton, so many great nicknames.
I think that's an ode to Troy Bolton as well from High School Musical, from what Zach Davis, one of the All-2-0 reporters, told me. So I'm not a High School Musical person. I think I may have seen it once, but I think Troy Bolton has that number. I'm not sure.
That's really funny. And you know what? Kalmus is Bolton, so she's the one out here running the offense for Carleton as well.
Gonna need a lot more of number 14. Don't see Kalmus on the field. It's Rowell gonna have to deal with this zone. They often start with this no dump set and now have to filter back some handlers into that space with Monks there, and Valentine getting in there for the block, and this is potential dangerous territory for this Eclipse side as they zone back out with their offense. But you definitely don't want to go down 11-5 right now and have this momentum continue to swing to this Middlebury side.
Carleton not too concerned with what a grab with those handler swings, and as looks like UMac, or no, that's Lucy Van Newkirk puts up a blade to Keziah Wilde for a great grab to maintain possession.
Keziah Wilde very open there and not continuing to that side, electing to swing it back to Babbitt Bryan. That zone remaining on into the end zone here as Abby Daly getting it back to Wilde. Wilde having an easier catch than the one she had earlier. As this swinging back and forth laterally for this Middlebury side. Babbitt Bryan very open. See if they hit the continue. And what a throw. Not sure if it was for Wilde, but it'll be caught by Middlebury. And they are rolling right now. That's Pearl Tooley with the grab. 5th goal of the weekend.
That's really, really great team communication and patience to swing the disc, keep that stall count low. So there's really no need for those high stall count punts to just get the disc out of your hands and try to maintain as much yardage as possible right here on the end zone line. And it can be really hard as a team to stay patient like that and keep the disc swinging back and forth. But Middlebury just is unbothered by the number of throws it takes them to get the disc into the end zone, as long as they can do it in a really smart way, which they do. They execute time and again.
Seeing Babbitt Bryan probably not going to be on this point with the lead the way it is. Maybe give some of these other players a rest. Just on the line discussing some assignments, and we've seen Babbitt Bryan buzzing around all over the field. I'm going to say this on the air, that Babbitt Bryan, a U24 snub out here, didn't make the squad. No, got a tryout, but Babbitt Bryan has been really dominant in D3. Would love to see her make one of these U24 squads.
Glad you got that one in there, Theo. Looks like we've got our Carleton Eclipse O-line squad back out here, ready to receive the pull from Sarah Rifkin.
Sarah Rifkin on the pull for Pranksters.
Kalmus and Brooks Kahn, the handler duo. A little give and go to get things moving. Christie very open at the front of the stack, but Brooks Kahn going to receive the disc instead. Kalmus just past half field for this Carleton College side. Must have O point right now. The scoring the way it is over to Captain Claire James. Kalmus going up the line, abandons. Little move. Quite dangerous, perhaps, but Kalmus evades danger, checking to see if she's okay. Cameron Barton right away checking on Kalmus.
What a great grab for Kalmus regardless. She really had her eye on that disc there. Tough when you have some defenders coming in from the side, but we're gonna have the rest of the players on the field take a knee. Molly Snow there coming in for the Pranksters to defend. We've got the trainer coming out. Let's see, Theo. So that was a really great offensive possession for the Eclipse. Taking a look at the stands here. Right now we'll go to break. Middlebury 11, Carleton 5.
That was ruled a goal. Kalmus getting on the board. Hope number 14 is okay there. Getting some treatment from the trainer and the cart out there. But Carleton, you needed that one. It was 9 straight goals from this Middlebury side. And now it's a 5-point advantage for the Pranksters. And we'll see what defense they decide to pull out here. Raul getting fired up from some of the fans here. See a great shot of the crowd and the atmosphere we have here at D3. You know, we talked about this at length throughout this weekend. From 2 days to 3 days, you got to be feeling good if you're a D3 fan or player or alumni out there, just to see the coverage these great athletes are getting.
Definitely feels good to be a part of the team contributing to bringing this great coverage to everyone and really expanding the amount of coverage and articles, videos, live streams that we've been able to bring this weekend to D3. We had 19 streamed games, this being the second to last, and the men's final being later today. We've got a roller pole from Tess Barton as Eclipse comes out here with their D-line for the first time in a little bit, hoping to get this game back in their favor.
It just starts with the one break. That's what you need right now, and Middlebury having something to say about that, slicing through. Cardi now on this close sideline. A couple players in the area. Not close enough for a double team, but going to swing it around, see if Valentine can get it, and they force it back into this close side. Shot floating up for Lash. Lash picks it up easily with the left hand, and the hold they needed allows them to double up Carleton once again. They're up 12-6.
What a grab for Lash. That really was a great put right where she could only grab it. Carleton defenders right there on her shoulder doing their best to try to get the body positioning, but Middlebury knows their receivers out here and they know where to put it. Looks like we've got a Middlebury timeout. Now that we're in the second half, they've got more to burn.
You don't take them home with you back to Massachusetts, or excuse me, back to Middlebury there. You don't take it back with you. So why don't you use it now? Get up, some discussion with your players, and then finish out this game here. The score the way it is, as we see Carleton and their captains and coaches discussing things. Brooks Kahn, Claire James, Alex Ryle out there.
Important time to get some good strategy discussions in. Hope Maya Kalmus is okay there after that contact score that they had. But we've got the Carleton Eclipse squad huddling up here, getting some discussion in how they can get the game back in their favor and what they can do to really finish out their season. For both teams, this is their last game as this iteration of their team, and they're both trying to make it as punctual as possible.
This Vermont side wanting to punctuate this three-peat. That's the goal here, and they're 3 points away, and one of the big reasons for the lead is the heroics of Lily Lash, just playing great downfield as we see in this defense, just making some plays, especially in that zone look, was able to contribute with that bookends, and a big reason why Middlebury has lead the way it is, snagging that one for the score, and great vision, of course, from Babbitt Bryan to make that happen. So this Middlebury side 3 points away.
For Lash, this is her third year on the team, but really the first year we've been saying her name so much. It's so great to see how these players are really stepping up. You know, definitely more senior on the team as of this year, but last year 9 seniors graduating, opening the space for Lash to become so dominant.
And speaking with Captain Maddie Lander before the game, they have a mix of some younger players who this is their first final, and some that they're hoping to send the seniors home with a title, and a third one at that. So a little mix there as this throw a miscue. Good coverage there from Wyman. Haven't said Wyman's name quite often, but making an impact right there on this defensive point. Now a chance to counter, but that will halt as the throw hits the turf.
Kalma's picking up. Glad to see her back out on the field. Looks like that injury timeout was important, but a good reset for the Carleton Eclipse squad.
Rowell sees a target and finds it for the score. That's Harper Brooks-Kahn. And the Carleton fans in the audience cheering for that one as they try to make a comeback.
You know, all these fans in the audience, like we said, they're the other women's teams that have been at this event. Tough for Middlebury to go for a three-peat and not become the villains, shall we say. They are certainly the title favorites, #1 seed, but I'm sure that if Middlebury heard this, they're the pranksters already. I'm sure they would love to lean into that villain role and really keep their title train rolling.
You don't see that type of dominance, first of all, beating some Division I teams when you go like they did when they went to Centex, and then winning 2 in a row and trying to go for that third. I don't know many programs that go undefeated in a regular season. There's a lot of tournaments that you play, and just one slip-up means no undefeated season.
Exactly. You have to be so locked in for every game. And that's really what Middlebury was saying to us this morning, is this, to some degree, is just another game. It may be their last game of this season. It may be the championship game. But when it comes down to it, it's still just throws and catches. It's still just a game to lock in, to win, to get those Ds, to get those clean holds. And now that they've gotten their feet under them after that one, you know, a couple little stumbles there with those Carleton breaks, what a game they are having.
Past half field already. This Middlebury side 3 points away from a title, a third one at that. Valentine keeping things over to Liza Crawford, excuse me. This lateral movement is working out where they then can get it downfield and smooth through this zone. Babbitt Bryan a little swagger on the celebration. Wilde another assist, and that connection working out for Middlebury. 2 points away from a title.
That gets Middlebury to 13-7 lead over the Carleton Eclipse. Eclipse still keeping those spirits high, but Claire Babbitt Bryan there in the end zone for all those scores. And we love to see her celebrations here, Theo. Middlebury is so creative, and I think that Claire really embodies that energy as well.
I just want to know how they practice these. Like, when do they practice these? Like, you get 6 points, 3 goals, 3 assists, and a block. And where do you do it? Do you do it during practice in the hotels? When do you have the time to just come up with all these great ideas?
You know, I guess if you're winning all those games, you got plenty of points to score to come up with those. And as your season goes, and especially as tight-knit as this team has been, this whole squad really has held it together for this dominance. And that gives you time to really practice your media presence, shall we say. And boy, does Middlebury have experience with that.
And we love the media training. I talked about this with one of the other commentators, Chris Casella. People seem to know where to turn when they score. They know where the highlight camera is, and they know what to do. So they've clearly been trained, and we've seen some great interviews that you can find on the Ultiworld social channels as well. I know, Fiona, you've done a couple of those, and that's been fun to get to know some of the players.
It definitely has been great to give the players this highlight perspective and get to talk to them and get to know them as individuals and as the personalities that make up their team. You know, we talk a lot about the personalities that make up specifically the Pranksters, but in those interviews and those profiles that we've been able to do, it's been really great to, once again, just contribute to the coverage that we are able to bring for this Division 3 division. It's really important that, you know, these players, they spend so much time and they work so hard to get here, and it's really great to make that feel validated as well.
These teams work hard all season. You know, they start in the fall. You got those early fall tournaments out there, and hoping to see that culminate in a championship in spring. And for the Pranksters, they're 2 points away from that goal. Carleton trying to get themselves back on the board, get to 8 here with this offensive point, and Kalmus, big fake, just near the opposing brick mark right now. No dump vertical stack once again, and then gets a target. Moving it forward to the far side.
You know, Carleton's offense really is so moving. You know, like they have those no dump sets, and that's really just so that way they can come in and then cut off of each other. Here we are with a score bringing Carleton Eclipse up to 8. That's Frankie Serenetti bringing in that goal with the assist of her teammate there, just in case that she missed it. That's Maya Kalmus with that over the stack put to Serenetti. A nice Carleton hold.
Like the embrace at the end as well, with the players hugging and trying to get themselves pumped back up, excuse me. Frankie Serenetti scoring that goal, the sophomore from Hawaii, making their way over to Middlebury. Like I said, they know where the cameras are, and they're pumped up. Love all our production crew working hard out there and giving you this great broadcast. We thank you for tuning in. Hope you stay in for the men's final as well. This Middlebury side trying to win it both. They're trying to sweep it out here at D3, but Colorado College Wasabi, they're going to have something to say about that. And that game will take place on 1 o'clock Eastern.
Really excited to be a part of this coverage here. We've got Maya Kalmus with the pull, signaling readiness.
Maya Kalmus on the pull for Eclipse.
As Middlebury starting on the vertical stack just shy of their own brick mark. Person set. Bobby Bryan was initiating. They look her off. Great catch under pressure from Dong. Checking to see if Dong's okay. He gets back up. Bobby Bryan big under for some yards. Throwing over to Valentine. Bobby Bryan thought about the deep shot, instead goes for the reset. Just doing a lot of work in the downfield space as number 8 in white, Claire Babbitt Bryan. Really signaling things for her teammates, airing this one out. And that's gonna work out. Great throw from Babbitt Bryan. Finds Neve Carty for the goal. Carty getting herself on the board for a second time in this game.
What a great grab. And we've got another Middlebury rehearsed score celebration here. Looks like we're eating dinner. We're eating up those goals here for the Pranksters. 1 goal away from a 3rd national championship. Carleton's still trying to hang on, but Babbitt Bryan with these visionary puts right to where only her receiver can get it.
Been really impressed with Babbitt Bryan there, specifically on that point where was cutting, buzzing around the underspace, catching it, then directing traffic, telling players to go certain directions. Just telling your players, hey, go here and I'll put it into that direction. And it worked out. They have the lead the way it is. And conversely, on the Carleton College side, they were up 5-2 in this game. They were really the ones to cause problems and issues for Middlebury's offense. But then a switch flipped on this Middlebury side, and it's just been all Pranksters after that.
So many clean holds despite the efforts of this Eclipse D-line. We have some players mic'd up so we can get a listen in.
Talked about clean holds there, and we're seeing that right now with the last 3 offensive points for Middlebury being clean ones without a turnover here, and they're 1 point away. Got a great opportunity to hear from David Bryan and this team discussing some things. They have this chance right now to break and really show off their dominance by breaking for the win. You love to see that, especially if you're a defensive-minded coach in the audience. Lander with the pole. Going to give a friendly Middlebury roll. And tap back down. Kalmus going to work against the zone here. The Pranksters trying to win a 3rd title, bring it back home to Vermont. Landgraf getting some burn here on the offensive line. Inside shot over to Barton. Barton was great defensively against Wellesley in the semifinal for them. Kalmus has Brooks Kahn. Those two have been working all day in the handler space. Little flip for the score, and that will lead to some cheers from the Carleton College side. And now it's got to be all defense for them if they want to make a comeback.
Carleton has to lock down on this defense here in Obetz for their season to stay alive. This could be a really clean Middlebury hold. You know, great to see Eclipse still in it with that clean hold for themselves, but they are all smiles trying to stay in this point. And what a great possession that was for Eclipse.
Coleman collected, and Maya Kalmus, I'm going to think that she's been up there with the assist leaders in this tournament. And Brooks Kahn also been solid in the backfield. Played for the St. Paul Pushovers, a mixed squad, and was on the practice roster for Minneapolis Pop. And this 4-year senior from Massachusetts making a big impact as we get a look at the Middlebury offensive line. This could be the point where you win a 3rd straight national title. You could be witnessing some good history here, folks, so make sure you stay locked in. Middlebury looking very calm and collected on this offensive point.
I wish that I could know what the Middlebury team is feeling in this second. You know, it's gonna be about, they can't take this point for granted, but they do have the advantage receiving the disc for this first offensive possession here. 14-9. 1 more point to go for Pranksters championship.
David Bryan unmarked right now. Don't want to give her too much space. They're trying to shake freeze. Backhand force from this Eclipse side. Finds Valentine. There's some defense chance and almost a block there from James. This throw high, and Rowell gets the D and shooting it right away. And Carleton gets the score to the roar of the crowd. Dana Freed helps Carleton get a break. It's 14-10 now.
We have double digits on both teams, and what an important time for Carleton to get that break. Dana Freed, so good in the air, as we said all throughout the beginning of this game. What a great D by Rowell to just intercept that one missed throw and then put it right back to the receiver, Dana Freed. What a turn of events for the Carleton Eclipse D-line. Our game's going a little longer here, Theo, and I, for one, am glad to see more action.
Both of these teams deserve more action here on this field. They've been putting their heart out on the line. And we're going to see a lot of the usual suspects on defense out here. course, Lily Lash going to remain on. DePaulo. You just see it cut right back here to the Carleton side. Wilday on the field. Babbitt, Bryan, Valentine, Rifkin.
Hear that, Middlebury O-line? You can't take that too much to heart. You're still up 14-10. 1 point to go to score the game-winning goal. It's all on Eclipse here to make Middlebury's life as tough as possible to keep themselves in this game.
1 point for history, 1 point for forever here. As they come out kind of in a junky set. Barton hovering down in the deep space. A couple players open there. They elect to kind of be safe with it, does Middlebury. Tight reset defense, but getting free was Wilday. Bryan leaking out downfield. Calling for the shot. But James is there. Gets the block and a collision. A foul called by Neve Cardi, leading to a couple of boos in the crowd that I can hear from up here.
We're going to have a little bit of a discussion here, bringing in the observers as the players, we can kind of hear them on the field.
I feel like the contact impeded me from being able to bring my arm up to the couch. That's how I felt. Like I felt it all clear. That's what I was.
Oh, I see. I felt like I was. Can we go to the observer?
Yeah, I'm just gonna. Do you have?
James and Cardi in some discussion here.
I just couldn't hear.
Of who can make the plays. We see Hansen and Kudo, your observers. We get another look. Wilday putting this out. Thought it might have been for Babbitt Bryan, but James, believe, got to the spot first here. We'll see what the ruling is.
Okay. I think you both said you're. Okay. Do you want contested? Do you want a ruling from me? What would you like to do? I think you earlier said you want to come to me, but you talked after that, so I want to make sure. Okay, you come to me. Okay, the observer call is no foul. Okay. Yeah, well, hold on.
What a great D by James on the Eclipse squad. We saw a little clip of the Pranksters Eclipse sideline chatting. One more shot of that defensive positioning. Double coverage. James gets the D. Another Carleton rake attempt.
Let's see if Carleton decides to open up in the skies. Raul has the throw. So does Kalmus. And you know who's going deep? That's Dana Freed. But good help defense on the backside to prevent that from being a goal.
Eclipse needs to keep this disc right here. Sarah Rifkin goes to pick up for Middlebury. Seems like nerves are starting to get high. We can feel it crackling the way all the way up these bleachers as the fans are standing up in their seats, getting excited.
Close Callahan attempt. That would have got the fans fired up. But Middlebury keeping possession here. Lash very open downfield. But instead it's Wilday with the disc. Disc swing side to side here. As Middlebury can taste the title. 1 goal away, but this offensive point there had to work pretty hard down the line for Babbitt Bryan. Going cross field. And good effort, but not there. 2 players in the area, DePaulo and Lash, trying to get that championship ceiling goal, but not going to happen, at least for right now.
Still so close. No, Theo, we're seeing a lot of these throws kind of trail off at the end there. It's really important that these teams stay locked in on those throws, make sure that they get right to the receiver's hands, because as we saw, nothing is guaranteed here on this championship field.
Valentine calling a timeout, sensing things perhaps getting away from Middlebury a little bit. You've had a few turnovers back and forth, and good veteran call to settle things down.
See the team huddle up, discuss some defensive and offensive strategy. We're going to stay here, Theo, take a look at some of the fans in the stadium. What do you think so far of this last point? This last point feels like its own game in itself.
It's been back and forth, and some turnovers, as you mentioned, pushed down by the wind. And sometimes it's those nerves for both sides. I feel like a little bit more for Middlebury. You're so close to the mountaintop, that three-peat. You can taste it. And for Carleton, I think you're playing with house money. You're down 14-10. You can kind of just go out, play loose, and try some things. Maybe try to open it deep as well.
There's nothing to lose and everything to win here for Carleton. It's just far enough away that the score really isn't going to be, like, any win is going to be really hard fought. So here we have this most recent goal that Carleton was able to get. I believe that was their first break. No, that was the hold. And then we had a successful break in what Middlebury hoped would be their game point. We've got this big deep shot from Alex Rowell
with the takeaway just over to Eclipse.
Action happening fast and fierce as we're back in here. Eclipse keeping things going. That was Kalmas making the grab. Now Rowell before midfield. As Eclipse trying to get a third straight point, a second break in a row. And you have it in the shooter's hands in Brooks Kahn, who fakes a big backhand. Kalmas has a reset going up line. Instead, it's Rowell who gets it 10 yards away. Rowell has Brooks Kahn, and that's a break for Carleton once again. The score now 14-11. They're not going away.
What a second half, Theo. Wow. Carleton is turning on the jets with this defensive engine right when they need it at this last second. And wow, what a great thing to be a part of here. This is certainly, they're driving by Rowell and Kalmas. Kalmas with a stellar mark. And Rowell pulling that Keziah Wilde matchup. We've got Dana Freed pulling the Claire Babbitt-Bryant matchup, making her a no longer viable deep threat. But Carleton has that deep roster. Carleton trusts each other. They don't mind swinging it as much as Middlebury doesn't. We've got another deep point for Carleton coming out here. Can they convert?
They've been able to rotate a few pieces in while maintaining some of their stars remaining on the field. So Brooks Kahn, Barton getting a lot of D minutes, Rowell, and of course Maya Kalmas. So being able to interchange, as you mentioned, having a couple players come in, spell some of your D-line. Dong back out on the field. Saw them get a break for a little bit. Freed back out there. And for Middlebury, Lander stepping out onto the field for offense. They've been hovering over this championship point, like they would say in tennis, for a little bit. And so perhaps some of the nerves getting to them as they want to hit that mountaintop, that three-peat. Zone look once again with Barton in the deep space for Carleton. That throw not going to work out for Babbitt-Bryant in this Middlebury offense. And it's a short field for Brooks Kahn and Eclipse.
Rowell writing the book on that handler defense on Wilde. Can they come down with it?
But Babbitt-Bryant atones for that. To answer your question, they cannot. As Babbitt-Bryant, there were 3 Middlebury players that they spotted that a round was potentially going to come off. Van Newkirk, low throw. Just a turnover into the turf by UMac, excuse me.
Kalmas picks up.
Great catch by Brooks Kahn under pressure, wanted a cut. This one's going to hang. Lander gets the block, and Babbitt-Bryant will clean it up. Wonder if they'll both get credit with the block here as the Pranksters out and running.
Harper Brooks Kahn gets a hand block on Eve Hardy here, keeping the disc right where Eclipse wants it, in that 20-meter zone of the end zone.
Smiling about it as well. And looking for Dong in a tight space, but Lander is there. We saw Brooks Kahn, the camera caught it, just smiling after the block. They're trying to pin Middlebury in this end. They've done a good job of it so far. The pressure ratcheting up for this Pranksters side. They can taste the national title, but Carleton not making it easy. Rowell on the mark. During that Will They matchup. Will They going down the line.
Does the disc come back in for that great run by Lily Lash? Wow, Rowell's handler defense in this point alone has been stellar. The observers showing Kalmus where to bring this back in, well past half field. This is another spot that Middlebury wants to trap the Eclipse handlers. They've been having a hard time themselves getting around this mark by Neve Carty.
Up the line, this throw's gonna hang. And Dong almost had it. Babbitt Bryan was there, Lander, Brooks Kahn. See what the discussion leads to. Of course, it goes without saying, an important point with Carleton trying to make this comeback effort.
I'll be honest here, Theo, I'm not quite sure why Carleton keeps throwing that same throw. Babbitt Bryan is out here gobbling up all those ideally lofty throws to the Carleton receivers, but Carleton's been spoiled, you know. Their team is the best in the air by far here today, and they are now finally being challenged by equally as tall and agile Middlebury defenders.
This throw just a little high, loosening with the edge. I particularly don't want to see if you're an Eclipse fan in the audience. It's, by my count, a fourth opportunity here on offense for Middlebury. Will they try to activate Babbitt Bryan? Instead, it's Lash, who then continues things forward, but it's blocked by Barton. And it's ping pong back and forth action. Dong gets up for the sky, but there could be a call that got people jumping out of the bleachers.
Carty with the call on Dong. It looks like Carty and Babbitt Bryan might have had the positioning there. What looks like the observers are ruling it a goal. Carleton breaks again to bring the score within 2 for this potential final.
It's been a final point and championship point opportunity for Middlebury multiple times. Rowan Dong, make a name for yourself. Got the nickname out there, Rowboat, and Rowboat getting up large on this Barton throw. 2 defenders in the area, no problem for number 5. And Barton is unleashing a backhand. What a grab.
What a grab. So glad to have that highlight camera down there to watch it from 3 different angles, because Dong just had the positioning there. We've seen multiple defensive efforts there in that end zone from Claire Babbitt Bryan. Dong finally coming away with that victory for that one contested throw. Eclipse 2 points, 2 breaks away from tying it up with the Pranksters. Can they keep the train rolling?
The score was 14-8, folks. It's now 14-12. Middlebury has used the timeout. They have 1 more in the bank. Could they decide just to go with their offensive players like Wilday and Babbitt Bryan, Valentine, Rifkin, as Kalmus. Who else going to pull here for this Carleton College side?
The stands are rumbling. We've got the whole Wesleyan team on their feet, lining the side, chanting, stomping, clapping for Carleton. Like I said, Middlebury, 3P, they've kind of become the villains of this season. And you know what? Rightfully so. They have earned it, and I'm sure that they love to lean into being this dominant dynasty.
It's like the evil empire you want to take down. I get that. As Rifkin with the disc. That throw not going to work out, and Carleton, you can feel it. This crowd firmly behind Eclipse right now from the cheers that I can hear from up here. And now Kalmus, Coleman collected handler picking up, and Raul is in the stack. Expect Raul to kind of come out of there, get the disc, and look deep. Got a couple targets out there, and Fried and Serenini on the field if they need it.
Theo, I don't know how I'm going to be able to contain myself during this game. I am so hype up here and like feeling the stands rumble like this. This is such a hard-fought point. Every point has been for the past 3.
James not able to secure that one, and that gives a short field to the Middlebury Pranksters. They've had this multiple times and yet to cash in, trying to get that three-peat. Abbott Bryan, doorstep, going across the field, snagging it for the score, and the three-peat happens for Middlebury. They take the championship. What an effort from Carleton, but it's the Pranksters on top of the D3 World in the women's division. They win 15-12.
What a game and what a score. Incredible game from both the Pranksters and Carleton, who managed to scrap their way back to make this game so contended right there at the last second. A little more points there and it could have been Carleton's game to win, but what an amazing competition for both teams. Three-peat for Middlebury. It has been written. Middlebury Pranksters are your 2023 champions. Their dynasty reigns supreme today over the fields in Obetz, Ohio. The awards for this game will be done on the field shortly. We will have some sideline content from our winners for the Middlebury Pranksters. What a morning.
That's just the first final, folks, as we put a bow on this one. An exciting end. Carleton College making it close out there, and taking a look at some of the stats. You see the determining factor, the break chances and break opportunities generated for Middlebury, and that is what helps them get the 3-point win here. And you got to give some kudos to the Carleton College side. They perhaps look really down and out at 14-8, and the score the way it is, you can see that they put a lot of pressure on and took advantage of some miscues from Middlebury towards the end of this contest.
Did Middlebury take their foot off the gas for that last point for number 14 to 15? Carleton was able to break 2 times there to get the score to what it was now here at the end. Big win for Middlebury, but absolutely not a game to be down about for the Carleton Eclipse squad. What an effort that they managed to climb back up.
The Pranksters, little cheer here for the Eclipse side. Don't go away, as we have a solid interview coming up. Sam Echeverria down on the field, getting some information and also some reflection as Middlebury takes home their 3rd straight title.
What are they, spaceships from Mars? No, they're Frisbees. Watch it soar. It flies way around like a bird. You can even run for a pass. You can play all kinds of games. Isn't it amazing? Frisbee Flying Saucer. Yours at toy, drug, and department stores.
The last 50 years have seen a lot of positive change
around a whole range of important issues.
And some things remain reassuringly unchanged.
Like the spirit of our game.
Ultimate is 50 years young
and still a perfect circle
of fair play,
athletic pursuit,
and camaraderie.
In fact, Ultimate was a social network
before social networks even existed.
Respetamos nuestras diferencias
and understand the value that they add.
The revolution of the disc in flight continues to prove
that there's nothing we can't achieve
when we pull together.
Larga vida Ultime.
Long live Ultimate.
What would it look like if a competitive sport didn't mean a choice? Between beauty and brutality, style and steel. Between calling yourself out and clawing to stay in. What if there was a game that found balance? Between spirit and sport, agony and elation, like a disc dancing on air.
We now have evolved into a team sport of a game called Ultimate.
It stands by itself in that it is like no other game.
Between perfect passes and devastating drops. Like the balance we so desperately needed, we had no choice but to create it ourselves. Long live grit and grace. Long live Ultimate.
There is a place where we are us at our best.
A place where everyone is welcome.
Regardless of age, shape, skin color, or anything else that tries to box people in.
A place where we defy the odds.
Defy the naysayers.
And even defy gravity.
A place where it's accepted that success
doesn't belong to the faint-hearted. It belongs to the brave, to the determined.
A place that knows grit, knows grace, knows bright lights, and knows empty bleachers.
A place where we remember to laugh.
Where we learn to trust.
Learn to high-five strangers.
And eventually, even learn to fly.
A place where character, community, and competition
are all as balanced as a disc in flight.
That place isn't in a stadium or on a field.
That place is in the spirit of our players.
Because we don't just play Ultimate, we live Ultimate.
I'm Sam Echeverria here with Ultiworld at the D3 College Championships and with our champions, Middlebury Pranksters. What a roller coaster of a game here. Middlebury captains, could you tell me, you guys were down 5-2. What were the levers that you pulled as a team to come back and get back in this game?
I think we have so much stored energy inside all of our hearts, and it just took a few points to really unleash all of that. But we have such a loud sideline, and everyone on the field talks so much also that we can just really lift each other up so much. And that's really where it came from, just the energy in our hearts.
Awesome. Your zone came and really gave Eclipse a hard time. Can you talk about how you guys approach your zone and what your team does to make that impact?
Yeah, totally. Feels like a little bit like we're giving things away that people might take advantage of next year, but our zone definitely is just all about hard work and everyone on the field being active. I think some of the times people think it's only the cup or the short deep, but like our wings are getting Ds left and right, our deep's active. Everyone really plays a role, and I think that's what makes our zone so hard to beat. It's been called devastating before.
Devastating it was. Three-peat, national champs again, undefeated season. What does this mean to your program? How is your team feeling right now on the sideline as y'all are celebrating?
Yeah, we're super excited. This just shows that our program is so full of love and depth that we can keep doing this season after season, and we're super excited to see how we play next year.
Awesome. Any last thoughts for the viewers at home? It seems like Coach not giving us any of those secrets. So congratulations again. It was a thrilling game to watch, and all the best. Enjoy your championship.
Thanks, Sam, for that, and some great color and what we hear from the Pranksters. And This was a game to remember, folks, as we see lots of energy from both sides. Carleton College started things hot 5-2, and then it was Middlebury for a while going on a big run, and Eclipse, no shame in the effort they put in towards the end. And Fiona, any final thoughts about this game? It was 14-8 at one point, and then it swung over and ended 15-12.
You know, I'm not sure if there's anything I can say that hasn't already been shown on the field. What a game, what an effort by Carleton Eclipse, and what an excellent, excellent showcase of D3 College Ultimate at its finest. These are truly two of the best teams in the country. They have elite programs, both of them dynasty programs. Middlebury with the three-peat. Vic champions for 2023 this year. Carleton, absolutely great fight. What a great weekend of Women's College Ultimate that we've had here in Obetz, Ohio.
It's been exciting action. There's more to come. Men's final at 1 o'clock. It's Middlebury who reigns supreme in the D3 women's division. They take down Carleton Eclipse 15-12. Congratulations to the Pranksters.
Thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in. For Theo Wan, I'm Fiona Nugent.